The year is 2024. A hush falls over the international political landscape. In the heart of a discreet location, far from the prying eyes of the media, a meeting of profound significance unfolds. It is a clandestine encounter, shrouded in secrecy, between two figures of immense global influence. IBRAHIM Traoré, the newly appointed president of Burkina Faso, and Barack Obama, the former president of the United States of America. This clandestine rendezvous marks a pivotal moment, not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire African continent. Traoré's ascension to power in Burkina Faso had been swift and dramatic, a testament to the turbulent political climate gripping the nation. His leadership, characterized by a staunch commitment to national sovereignty and a rejection of neo-colonial influence, has garnered both fervent support and considerable opposition. The meeting with Obama, therefore, carries immense geopolitical weight, hinting at a potential shift in the established power dynamics between Africa and the West. The secrecy surrounding the event itself adds to its intrigue. No official statements were released, no press conferences held. The very existence of the meeting remained unconfirmed for several weeks, fueling speculation and intense debate among political analysts and international observers. Was it a mere courtesy call, a strategic maneuver, or something far more significant? The implications of this hidden encounter, whatever its true nature, ripple across the continent and beyond, promising to reshape the future of African-Western relations. This narrative will delve into the details of this enigmatic meeting, exploring the discussions held and the far-reaching consequences that followed, shedding light on the complex interplay of power, ambition, and the enduring struggle for African sovereignty. The story unfolds. The precise location of the meeting remains undisclosed, shrouded in the same veil of secrecy that cloaked its very existence. Speculation abounds, ranging from discreet villas nestled within the tranquil landscapes of Europe to secure compounds in neutral African nations. The choice of location itself speaks volumes, highlighting the delicate nature of the discussions and the need for utmost discretion. Several factors likely contributed to the decision to hold the meeting in secret. President Traoré's relatively recent and somewhat controversial ascent to power undoubtedly played a significant role. His leadership, while lauded by some as a bold assertion of African independence, is viewed with skepticism by others within the international community. The ongoing political instability in Burkina Faso further amplified the need for a clandestine setting, minimizing the risk of unwanted attention and potential disruptions. The secrecy also likely reflects the sensitivities surrounding the potential topics of discussion. Open dialogue about Burkina Faso's internal affairs, its relationship with Western powers, or its evolving stance on regional conflicts could have easily escalated existing tensions. The need to foster open and honest communication without jeopardizing delicate diplomatic relationships necessitated the covert nature of the meeting. While the identities of all attendees remain officially unconfirmed, credible sources suggest a small, carefully selected group participated. In addition to President Traoré and President Obama, the presence of key advisors from both sides is highly probable. These individuals, privy to sensitive information and strategic insights, played a crucial role in facilitating productive communication and shaping the outcome of this significant encounter. The precise composition of this inner circle, however, remains a mystery, adding another layer of intrigue to this already fascinating narrative. At the heart of this clandestine meeting were two powerful figures, each with a distinct agenda and a unique perspective on the complexities of African politics. President IBRAHIM Traoré, the young and charismatic leader of Burkina Faso, arrived with a clear vision for his nation's future, a future firmly rooted in self-determination and free from the shackles of neo-colonial influence. His political ambitions extended beyond the borders of Burkina Faso, encompassing a broader Pan-Africanist vision of a united and empowered continent. He sought to forge a path towards economic independence, fostering sustainable development while resisting external pressures that undermined African sovereignty. His meeting with President Obama represented an opportunity to articulate this vision on a global stage, garnering support for his ambitious plans and potentially securing crucial international collaborations. He likely sought to establish a dialogue that transcended traditional power dynamics, emphasizing the need for genuine partnership and mutual respect between Africa and the West. His presence at this meeting signaled his determination to chart an independent course for Burkina Faso, defying established norms and challenging the prevailing geopolitical order. On the other side of the table sat Barack Obama, a figure deeply familiar with the intricacies of African politics. His 8 years as President of the United States had provided him with invaluable insights into the continent's challenges and opportunities. His post-presidency focus on global affairs, particularly on initiatives aimed at promoting sustainable development and fostering democratic governance in Africa, positioned him as a key interlocutor in this unique encounter. For President Obama, the meeting likely presented an opportunity to engage with a new generation of African leaders, understanding their aspirations and concerns firsthand. He might have sought to offer guidance and support, leveraging his experience and influence to facilitate positive change. This meeting also provided a platform to reflect on his own administration's policies towards Africa, perhaps acknowledging areas where greater support could have been provided and fostering a more constructive dialogue for the future. The convergence of these two powerful individuals, with their contrasting backgrounds and overlapping interests, set the stage for a conversation of profound significance. The discussions that unfolded during this clandestine meeting undoubtedly revolved around the shared concerns regarding Africa's future. Economic development, a persistent challenge across the continent, was likely a central theme. President Traoré, committed to Burkina Faso's economic independence, would have emphasized the need for sustainable development strategies that prioritized local needs and minimized reliance on external aid. He likely advocated for fair trade practices, greater investment in local infrastructure, and the empowerment of African entrepreneurs. President Obama, with his extensive experience in international development, would have offered insights into successful models and potential avenues for collaboration. Security challenges, another pressing issue, were undoubtedly addressed. The proliferation of armed conflicts, terrorism, and political instability across parts of Africa presents significant obstacles to sustainable development and economic growth. President Traoré, grappling with security challenges within Burkina Faso, may have sought President Obama's perspective on effective strategies for conflict resolution, peace-building, and regional security cooperation. The role of external actors in exacerbating or mitigating these challenges would have been a critical point of discussion. The influence of external actors on Africa's political and economic landscape was likely a key area of contention. President Traoré's strong emphasis on sovereignty suggests a critical examination of the historical and ongoing impact of Western intervention in African affairs. He likely argued for a more equitable and respectful partnership, rejecting neo-colonial practices and advocating for policies that empower African nations to determine their own destinies. President Obama, mindful of past criticisms of Western interference, might have acknowledged the need for a more nuanced and collaborative approach, acknowledging past mistakes and emphasizing the importance of mutual respect in future engagements. These discussions, though conducted in private, held profound implications for the future trajectory of African-Western relations. The meeting served as a platform for frank dialogue, laying the groundwork for a potential paradigm shift in the way Africa's development and security challenges are addressed. The concept of African sovereignty, while seemingly straightforward, presents a complex tapestry of interwoven challenges. For nations like Burkina Faso, maintaining genuine independence requires a delicate balancing act between asserting national interests and navigating the intricate web of international relations. Economic pressures, often exerted through trade agreements, debt obligations, and conditional aid, can significantly constrain a nation's ability to chart its own economic course. The subtle yet pervasive influence of external actors on internal political processes further complicates matters, undermining the very essence of self-determination. President Traoré's unwavering commitment to Burkina Faso's sovereignty highlights the inherent difficulties in resisting these pressures. His advocacy for a Pan-African approach underscores the belief that collective action is crucial in countering external influences and fostering greater economic independence. A united front among African nations, working collaboratively to negotiate fairer trade deals, secure more favorable financing terms, and strengthen regional security cooperation, is vital for achieving true sovereignty. The challenges extend beyond the realm of economics and geopolitics. Maintaining internal stability and fostering good governance are equally crucial aspects of sovereignty. Building strong institutions, promoting transparency and accountability, and ensuring the rule of law are essential for creating a stable and prosperous nation capable of resisting external pressures. These internal challenges, often intertwined with historical legacies and deep-seated socioeconomic inequalities, require sustained effort and commitment from both the government and the citizenry. The path towards true sovereignty is therefore not merely a matter of external relations, but also an ongoing process of internal nation-building and strengthening democratic institutions. The success of this endeavor rests on the collective will of African nations to forge a future defined by self-determination and mutual support. During this private meeting, President Obama likely engaged in a candid self-assessment of U.S. foreign policy in Africa during his presidency. While acknowledging successes in areas such as promoting democracy and providing humanitarian aid, he might have openly acknowledged shortcomings. Past interventions, even those well-intentioned, may have inadvertently undermined African sovereignty or failed to adequately address the root causes of conflict and underdevelopment. This introspection likely extended to examining the efficacy of aid programs, the impact of trade policies, and the overall effectiveness of U.S. engagement with African governments. Such a self-critical approach would have been crucial in fostering a productive dialogue with President Traoré. The frank acknowledgement of past mistakes would have created an environment of mutual trust and respect, paving the way for more constructive engagement. This self-awareness, a hallmark of effective leadership, allowed President Obama to offer guidance and advice to President Traoré based on a nuanced understanding of both the successes and failures of previous U.S. policies. He might have offered insights into navigating the complexities of international relations, particularly in managing relationships with major global powers. He might have shared lessons learned from his own experiences in engaging with African leaders, emphasizing the importance of building strong partnerships based on mutual respect and shared goals. His advice might have focused on developing strategies for sustainable economic development, fostering good governance, and strengthening regional security cooperation, areas crucial for achieving true sovereignty. Ultimately, President Obama's reflections on U.S. policy serve as a foundation for a potentially transformative conversation, setting the stage for a more equitable and mutually beneficial relationship between the United States and Africa. President Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso centers on a clear commitment to self-reliance and genuine independence. This vision extends beyond mere political autonomy to encompass economic empowerment and a redefined approach to international relations. His economic strategies likely focus on diversifying the national economy, reducing dependence on foreign aid, and promoting sustainable development initiatives tailored to Burkina Faso's unique circumstances. This might involve investing in local industries, supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, and fostering agricultural innovation to enhance food security. A key element of his economic plan is likely the promotion of fair trade practices, ensuring that Burkina Faso benefits equitably from its engagement in the global market. Politically, President Traoré's vision emphasizes strengthening democratic institutions, promoting good governance, and ensuring the rule of law. This includes fostering transparency and accountability within the government, empowering civil society organizations, and protecting human rights. His approach to regional cooperation focuses on strengthening ties with neighboring African nations, promoting collaborative efforts in areas such as security, trade, and infrastructure development. He likely advocates for a Pan-African approach, recognizing that collective action is essential for achieving greater economic and political influence on the global stage. In terms of international relations, President Traoré's vision likely emphasizes a more equitable and respectful partnership with the international community. This means advocating for fairer trade agreements, resisting undue external influence, and seeking partnerships that genuinely support Burkina Faso's development goals without compromising its sovereignty. His vision for Burkina Faso is not one of isolation, but rather a path towards self-determined development, built on strong internal foundations and collaborative relationships with other African nations. It is a vision rooted in the belief that Africa can and should shape its own destiny. The aftermath of President Traoré's meeting with President Obama presented significant domestic challenges. His assertive stance on sovereignty and his pursuit of independent foreign policy initiatives likely ignited considerable internal opposition. Different factions within the military, potentially harboring differing views on the optimal path for Burkina Faso, might have emerged, creating internal divisions and power struggles. These internal conflicts could have manifested as disagreements over strategic alliances, economic policies, or the very nature of Burkina Faso's relationship with the international community. Public opinion, always a crucial factor in political stability, would have been sharply divided. Some segments of the population might have viewed Traoré's independent stance as a courageous defense of national interests, while others might have perceived it as a risky gamble that could jeopardize Burkina Faso's economic stability and international standing. The secrecy surrounding the meeting with Obama could have fueled speculation and distrust, further exacerbating internal divisions. The potential for misinformation campaigns, both from domestic and foreign actors, added another layer of complexity to the challenges facing Traoré's leadership. Navigating these domestic pressures would have required a delicate balance of political maneuvering, strategic communication, and decisive leadership. President Traoré would have needed to effectively manage internal dissent, address public concerns transparently, and solidify his position as the leader capable of guiding Burkina Faso towards its goals of self-reliance and national unity. The successful navigation of these domestic challenges would have been crucial for the continued implementation of his vision for Burkina Faso's future. President Traoré's pursuit of an independent path for Burkina Faso inevitably attracted international scrutiny and pressure. His outspoken criticism of neo-colonial influences and his efforts to forge stronger ties with other African nations, rather than solely relying on Western partnerships, could have prompted reactions from influential international organizations and nations. These entities, often invested in maintaining established power structures and economic relationships, might have viewed Traoré's actions as a challenge to their interests. The potential for sanctions, both economic and political, loomed large. Economic sanctions, designed to cripple Burkina Faso's economy and force a change in policy, could have taken various forms, ranging from trade restrictions to the freezing of assets. Political sanctions, such as diplomatic isolation or the withdrawal of aid, could have aimed to weaken Traoré's government and undermine his legitimacy. International organizations, particularly those with significant influence over global finance and development aid, might have played a key role in applying or threatening these sanctions. The response from other nations would have been varied. Some countries, particularly those aligned with Traoré's vision of Pan-African self-determination, might have offered support and solidarity. However, others, bound by existing alliances or economic interests, might have joined the chorus of pressure, seeking to influence Burkina Faso's political trajectory. The international pressure on President Traoré, therefore, presented a complex and multifaceted challenge, requiring skillful diplomacy and strategic alliances to navigate the intricacies of global politics. His ability to withstand this pressure would be a critical factor in determining the success of his vision for an independent Burkina Faso. The path towards self-reliance for Burkina Faso under President Traoré's leadership was not without significant economic hardship. The potential for sanctions and reduced international aid coupled with pre-existing economic vulnerabilities, likely created a challenging environment. Reduced access to international markets and financial resources could have strained the national budget, impacting vital public services such as healthcare and education. The immediate consequences might have included inflation, unemployment, and a decline in living standards for a significant portion of the population. Traoré's strategies to counter these hardships likely centered on promoting domestic production and reducing dependence on imports. This would have involved investing in local industries, particularly in agriculture and resource extraction, to generate employment and boost national income. Emphasis on fair trade practices would have been crucial to ensure that Burkina Faso received equitable returns from its exports, maximizing its economic benefits. Diversification of the economy, reducing reliance on a few key exports, would have been another essential element in building resilience against external shocks. However, the feasibility of Traoré's economic vision faced considerable challenges. Building a robust domestic economy from scratch requires substantial investment in infrastructure, technology, and human capital. Attracting foreign investment while maintaining national sovereignty would have been a delicate balancing act. Furthermore, overcoming deeply entrenched patterns of dependency on foreign aid and markets would require sustained effort and a commitment to long-term structural reforms. The success of Traoré's economic vision would depend on the effectiveness of these strategies and the ability of the government to implement them despite internal and external pressures. The journey towards genuine economic independence would likely be a long and arduous one. Facing significant internal and external pressures, President Traoré likely recognized the crucial need for regional support to bolster Burkina Faso's position and advance his vision of sovereignty. His strategy would have involved actively engaging with other African nations, advocating for a stronger sense of Pan-African solidarity and cooperation. This would have entailed diplomatic initiatives aimed at building alliances and fostering collaborative partnerships within the African Union framework. Central to Traoré's efforts would have been the promotion of a shared understanding of the challenges facing African nations. He might have emphasized the need for collective action to overcome neo-colonial influences, promote equitable trade relationships, and enhance regional security. This would have necessitated the establishment of platforms for dialogue and collaboration among African leaders, facilitating the exchange of ideas and strategies for economic and political advancement. Building alliances within the African Union would have required careful diplomacy and a nuanced understanding of the diverse political landscapes across the continent. Traoré would have needed to navigate existing power dynamics and address potential conflicts of interest to forge lasting partnerships. The success of his efforts would have depended on his ability to articulate a compelling vision for a more unified and self-reliant Africa, inspiring other leaders to embrace a common cause. The extent to which he succeeded in rallying support within the African Union would significantly shape Burkina Faso's ability to withstand external pressure and advance its economic and political independence. His advocacy for Pan-Africanism, therefore, was not merely a rhetorical stance, but a crucial element of his broader strategy for national and continental liberation. Maintaining popular support amidst economic hardship and political instability would have been a central challenge for President Traoré. His strategies to inspire and unite the people of Burkina Faso likely involved a multifaceted approach, combining effective communication with tangible policy initiatives. Articulating a clear vision for the future, emphasizing the long-term benefits of self-reliance and national independence, would have been crucial in garnering public support. Direct engagement with the populace through town hall meetings, public addresses, and the use of media platforms would have helped to foster a sense of shared purpose and national unity. Highlighting the sacrifices required to achieve national goals and emphasizing the importance of collective action would have been key in building public morale. Furthermore, demonstrating tangible improvements in people's lives through investments in essential services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure would have been essential in sustaining public confidence. However, The task of maintaining popular support in the face of economic hardship would have been far from easy. The potential for social unrest and political instability would have been significant, as economic difficulties could have exacerbated existing societal tensions. Traoré would have needed to employ skillful political maneuvering to address public grievances, mitigate potential conflicts, and prevent the erosion of his political base. His success in inspiring and uniting the people of Burkina Faso would have been a critical determinant of his government's ability to withstand internal and external pressures and navigate the challenges of building a self-reliant nation. The secret meeting between President Traoré and former President Obama held profound implications for the broader struggle for African sovereignty. Traoré's assertive stance, challenging established power structures and advocating for self-reliance, resonated with a growing sentiment across the continent. His emphasis on Pan-Africanism underscored the need for increased cooperation and collaboration among African nations to overcome historical and contemporary challenges. The meeting served as a powerful symbol of a potential shift in the dynamics between Africa and the West, signaling a growing determination among African leaders to shape their own destinies. The success of Traoré's vision hinges, to a large extent, on the ability of African nations to unite and work together. The challenges of achieving genuine sovereignty are multifaceted, encompassing economic independence, political stability, and the effective management of internal and external pressures. Increased cooperation on issues of trade, security, and development would be crucial in enhancing the continent's collective bargaining power and fostering a more equitable global order. Building stronger regional alliances and institutions could facilitate the sharing of resources, expertise, and best practices, while also fostering a sense of shared identity and purpose across diverse national contexts. The potential for increased cooperation and self-determination across the continent is considerable. A united Africa, capable of speaking with one voice on the global stage, would be better positioned to negotiate favorable trade agreements, attract foreign investment on its own terms, and safeguard its natural resources. Furthermore, a collaborative approach to security challenges would enhance regional stability and potentially reduce the risk of conflict. The legacy of the Traoré-Obama meeting, therefore, extends beyond the specific context of Burkina Faso, representing a significant moment in the ongoing struggle for African self-determination and the potential for a more prosperous and equitable future for the continent. The long-term impact of the Traoré-Obama meeting on Burkina Faso's political and economic development remains uncertain, contingent upon the success of Traoré's strategies. A positive outcome would entail significant progress toward economic diversification and self-reliance, reducing dependence on foreign aid and fostering sustainable growth. This would require successful implementation of policies aimed at boosting domestic production, developing local industries, and promoting fair trade practices. Strengthening democratic institutions and fostering good governance would also be critical in ensuring political stability and attracting foreign investment. Success would also depend on effectively navigating the complex geopolitical landscape, maintaining constructive relationships with regional partners and international organizations, while simultaneously resisting undue external influence, would require skillful diplomacy and a nuanced understanding of international power dynamics. Furthermore, effectively managing internal political challenges, including potential opposition and social unrest, would be crucial in consolidating power and implementing long-term reforms. Conversely, a less favorable outcome could involve continued economic hardship, political instability, and increased international isolation. Failure to implement effective economic policies or address internal divisions could lead to social unrest and undermine the government's legitimacy. International sanctions or diplomatic pressure in response to Traoré's assertive foreign policy could further exacerbate economic challenges and hinder development efforts. The potential for negative consequences underscores the significant challenges facing Burkina Faso and the importance of strategic planning and effective governance in achieving long-term stability and prosperity. The trajectory of Burkina Faso's future, therefore, remains intricately linked to the success or failure of Traoré's vision. The secret meeting between President Traoré and former President Obama represents a pivotal moment in the ongoing struggle for African sovereignty. The meeting highlighted the complexities of achieving self-reliance in a globalized world, requiring a delicate balance between resisting external pressures and fostering internal stability. Traoré's vision for a self-sufficient Burkina Faso, grounded in Pan-Africanism and economic diversification, presents both significant opportunities and considerable challenges. His success will depend not only on his ability to implement effective domestic policies, but also on his capacity to navigate the intricacies of international relations and foster regional cooperation. The meeting's lasting impact will be shaped by the unfolding political and economic trajectory of Burkina Faso. The success or failure of Traoré's strategies will have broader implications for the wider African continent, influencing the trajectory of Pan-Africanism and the continent's relationship with the West. The ongoing nature of Traoré's political journey underscores the long-term perspective required to assess the meeting's significance. It is a story still being written, one that will require careful observation and analysis to fully understand its implications for Burkina Faso and the broader African political landscape. The meeting serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring struggle for self-determination and the complex interplay between national aspirations and global power dynamics. The legacy of this clandestine encounter will undoubtedly be debated and analyzed for years to come, its true impact only becoming clear with the passage of time.